Hello and welcome back to The Real Franchise, a video series designed to deliver real information, real answers and real insights into franchising. The series is brought to you by James Home Services Australia. I'm the CEO and Justin is one of our owners and our head of new businesses. Together in this series, we tackle all of the big topics, unscripted, unplanned and completely unfiltered. No sales, no fluff. We just give you information straight up. Today's topic is on request. We recently had a comment on a Facebook post of ours that asked us to talk very specifically about territories. And normally we don't kind of get as specific on one small topic, but given it's a request, clearly it means that it's important that people understand what we do from a territories perspective, and every franchise network is a little bit different. So today we're going to talk about territories. Justin, Let's start with the basics first. In our network, we do operate off of territories and we operate off of what we call a protected area or protected territory. Can you walk us through what that is?
So a protected area territory in our network is an exclusive territory. It's yours exclusively. So you'll never have competition from another franchisee in James in that service. And there's a whole range of benefits for that, which we'll talk about. And in our network, it's 2,500 homes is the protected territory for a cleaning franchise or a lawn and garden care franchise, which are our two foundational franchises. So 2,500 homes, which is roughly the size of most Aussie suburbs. So if you're wondering how big that is, well, generally it's about the size of a suburb. And that data is all in our system, and we've got a fully integrated mapping system, which that data's all come through, Bureau of Statistics, etc., through Google Mapping. So literally our team at head office map out a protected area. We talk it through with you and make sure. And generally, one of our strong recommendations is your protected area, you should be living in it, if at all possible. And that's probably a whole nother discussion for another video, because that's really in your wheelhouse, that marketing and it just really helps, particularly from a Google point of view. If you live in your protected area, it just really helps you move up the ranking very quickly.
Yeah, it does. It also limits your travel time. We want to keep you as close to home as possible, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But the reason why that protected area is recommended to be around your home is to, A, keep you as close to home as possible, less travel time. Normally people live and, their kids go to school in that same suburb as well. So it's going to fit in perhaps a little bit more seamlessly with your life. And that's a big part of what we're trying to do, is make business ownership actually suit your life, not the other way around. That's why most people come out of employment into self-employment, is that the 9-to-5 grind was just, it wasn't flexible. They're looking for flexibility. So we're trying to create that in our model. But yeah, you touched on the other really big reason, which is Google. And I won't go into a lot of detail, but suffice to say, it is really critical that with your Google business profile, which is like, the good old Yellow Pages listing, right? If you weren't in Yellow Pages, you're not visible to your market. Same with Google now. If you're not on Google, you're not visible to your market. So we really do encourage, and we provide an awful lot of assistance to have you on Google. We set that up and then we train you how to maintain it. And it's a lot easier, as you say, to be viewed higher in the rankings faster if you're posting from inside the area that you're telling Google that you're servicing. So lots of technical reasons there, but the short answer is we want to keep you close to home, and also, it's easier to get you up those rankings on Google and seen in the top couple of results faster if you're actually living in and actively moving around that area that you're servicing. Yep.
I always say our network is all about people serving people. And, if you live in that area, you'll often have, like you said, the school and the local corner shop and the local real estate. You'll have these natural networks that then allow you to really instantly get yourself known in your community. The other thing, as you know, we pay to when people join us, we pay to bring their car or their trailer. And so you're going to be driving in and out of home and you're marketing constantly. Literally just before we started this video, I had a lady walk in the door here because when I was on my morning run this morning, I found a mobile phone on the side of the road and it was intact and it was working. So I put up on our community Facebook page, hey, I found this mobile phone. Anyway, within an hour, the owner had contacted me and she just came and picked it up and she went, oh, I see your James car driving around everywhere, and she said, and can I get the number for your cleaner because I need to get a regular service done. So she's calling Adam, who's our local James interior cleaner now. And that's the beauty. If you live in your protected area, people get to know you. And when they need your service, bang, they instantly, there's that brand awareness. Oh, yeah, I see that James cleaning car everywhere or the James lawn and garden car. I'll call those guys. And so, yeah, I do often have, I'll be honest, for taking people through the sales process, I have people go, like, for example, in Melbourne, I want the Melbourne CBD, and they live out in the northern suburb or like I live up near Cairns, and I've often had people say, oh, no, we want, the Cairns city, and they live in the northern beaches. And it's like, well, you're defeating the purpose, because people are going to see you in and around your area.
Yep.
And, the residential areas are, I find, our real niche markets. We earn more with better client base. But back to the territory thing, one of the other big pluses of this is it actually gives you yes, it's a protected area. I had a guy looking at joining us. He was talking to another franchise network, and one of the questions he asked them was, how many franchisees do you have in my area? And they said, well, in your suburb, we have 13 franchisees offering the same service. Yeah. And he was like, well, how the heck am I going to do it? And they said, oh, there's plenty of work out there, plenty of work for everyone.
And so what, is it just a free-for-all? Like when a customer makes an inquiry, like how does that even work? Is it going out to all 13?
Yep. Well, I know in this particular network what they do is the newest person on gets all the leads. So, guys, you've been on for a while, you're right, you don't need any more leads, you know what you're doing. And so the new person gets all the leads, so which is really annoying if you're
trying to grow your business and develop a team.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is why this guy rang us, because he's like, far out, my biggest competition is going to be my own people wearing the same shirt.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just not how we work, is it? I was going to sort of go into the detail of what exclusive territory means. And really you've just explained it, which is in our network, there is only you in your suburb. That area that we give you, that's it. There's no one else wearing the same shirt as you. There's no other James business owner offering that same service. If you're lucky, you might have, if you're an interior cleaning business owner, if you're really fortunate, we might also have a lawn and garden care business owner in your area, and that's the best scenario because then you guys can work together, you can refer work. If you've got a client that needs lawns done, hey, presto, I've got someone who could help you and vice versa. That's a wonderful scenario, and when that happens in our network, it's great. It benefits both parties. But what it does mean is when we get an inquiry from a customer and it's in your area, that lead goes to just one person.
Exactly.
You're not in competition with anyone else in our network. Sure, that customer may have rung other independents, other franchise networks that obviously, it's a free market, customers shop around. We understand this, but you're absolutely never going to be competing against another one of our business owners. And that's a really important point for us. We really pride ourselves on having a model that works, but is full of integrity and just acting in the best interests of our business owner. And I feel really strongly that having you compete against one of our own, just feels a little bit off to me.
Yeah. So that's the first thing that I always say to people is you don't have the competition because it's yours exclusively. Second thing I always say comes down to a cost thing. I so often have people say to me, oh, no, I can service half of Melbourne, or I can, no, I'm happy to look after, the bottom half of Brisbane. And it's like, you'll go broke doing that, you know. And from a marketing perspective, it's diluted. When you're marketing, particularly online, we can really focus the advertising. And so what we've learned in our business, from a service point of view, If you're driving more than 20 minutes to the average job in a cleaning or lawn business, if you're driving more than 20 minutes for the average job, you're losing money. So you don't want to be traveling far, right? So one, we can concentrate the advertising. And so that will save you money. And particularly if you can nest, like I know so many of our franchisees, what they love about their business is they can duck home for lunch. You know, spent 30 years driving an hour and a half to work, and now they can duck home, have lunch with the family and go back out. Those sorts of things are a big benefit. So cost is another thing.
Yeah.
And we also give people a privileged area, right? So we have a protected area, which is exclusive. It's in your franchise agreement. That's yours. But then we have a privileged area because obviously we don't want to be turning away customers. And so general rule of thumb, that 20-minute thing often comes into, you know, we work with you and work out, okay, generally it's the suburbs around where the new business owner lives. We turn on as well. So any inquiries from that area. So it just gives you a larger catchment area while you're getting going, while cash flow is king and all of that sort of stuff. And then as you build up your customer base, what you're trying to do is nest your clients so that they're closer to home.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's sort of the second key thing is cost.
Yeah. And I just want to go back to talking about marketing, and you mentioned the word dilution. And that's a really, really important reason why it's also important to keep you closer to home and have that more consolidated area that you're focused in. Because when you're first starting your business, your number one goal and also your biggest challenge is getting customers. And that's probably the nerve point or the nervous point for most new business owners, and probably a question you get asked 10 times a day, Justin, is how am I going to get customers? You get customers from marketing. We market, you market. We've done videos on all of this. We've talked about how we work in partnership with our new business owners in a lot of lurid detail. So go back and check out some previous videos if you want more information on that. But a more consolidated area means that the marketing we're doing and the marketing that we're teaching you to do is focused on that area, so that suburb that is your protected area. What it means is that we can reach more of those people more frequently than if you're trying to market to an enormous area, right? So if you're trying to market to an enormous area, you might still reach the same number of people, but they're spread all over. And as we've talked about, you're driving here, there, and everywhere trying to service people. What it can achieve when you're focused on a smaller area is saturation. So it's faster to reach the majority of the people in your area with the marketing techniques that we teach you. And once you've reached those people, then we start to reach them again and again and again, because we know in marketing and what we teach our new business owners is that it's about two things: recency, frequency. Recency is how recently have they seen your brand. Frequency is how often. Now, the frequency is really important because people need a couple of touch points with your brand before they will remember you when they need you. So they must see the James brand potentially in excess of, say, 3 to 7 times before you're literally on the front of their mind when they're going, I need a cleaner or I need someone to mow my lawns. Now, if you're trying to market to half of Melbourne or half of Brisbane, how often do you think your marketing efforts and ours can reach all of those people to build that frequency so that we're sitting on the front of your customer's mind? It's almost impossible to achieve. However, that's why we give you that smaller, more consolidated area, because between your efforts and our efforts, I know that our marketing is being shown sometimes to 3,000 to 5,000 people every week. That's just our marketing in your area. So, and your area is somewhere, whilst it's 2,500 households, generally your area is somewhere between 7,500 and 10,000 people. So that means that we're actually getting our marketing seen by almost sometimes up to a quarter of your whole area every single week. It's creating saturation, and our marketing can't achieve that. Your marketing can't achieve that if we're trying to go broad. We're diluting the efforts. We're diluting your time spend. So it's very strategic for very good reason. We teach you all of those details. This is why sometimes a franchise network can be such a leg up when you're trying to get started, because we know all this stuff when we just teach it to you.
Yeah. And the third, I think, point I always say to people about a protected area is it gives you an asset to sell. It helps your customers to identify. You're not just James Lawn and Garden. You're James Lawn and Garden in Ormo on the Gold Coast, right? They know, okay, so you're looking after that rough area. And if they're in New South Wales, they're not going to ring you to get their lawns done. But it gives you an asset to sell. And it's a big part. Like, I've had 3 cleaning franchises myself over the years, and I was able to build those customers. Someone came along, bought that business, and knew they could walk into it and have these existing customers in that area. It's exclusive, and away they go and pick up and run the business. So it's a real key part of adding value to you.
Yeah.
In another business, if you just have a franchise and it's scattered everywhere, well, is there really much to it if you're buying it?
Even going out as an independent, there's probably a lot of people that look at us just kind of doing their homework. They're pretty sure they can do this on their own, and they just kind of think, maybe I should check out franchises, just see what they're offering, right? Plenty of people that check us out from that perspective, kind of with the intent that really they're going to go out on their own. And so one thing I would say is, if that's you, if you're in that boat and you've got the skills and you're reasonable and you're ready to back yourself and you're going to go out on your own, take what we're talking about and do that in your business, right?
Yes.
You've got to build that asset. You've got to build that business close to home. The other thing about doing this with a franchise network and us having that exclusive territory that's yours, it means that when you come to sell, you can give the buyer assurance that your clients can't jump ship to another business within our network, at least, right? In other networks, and the biggest risk when you sell a service-based business like ours is that the clients, they feel a little bit uneasy. Oh, is my service going to change with a sale? What does a sale mean for me? And they might get nervous and start looking around for other service providers. At least in our network, what our model means is that they are clients of that business and that area, and that is protected. So even when that passes to a buyer, the buyer has a level of security that those customers are going with that business. And if the buyer does the right things and follows all of our systems, there's no reason why they can't be maintaining the satisfaction level of those clients and keeping them. In other networks, or when you're out on your own, it's sometimes really difficult to stop your clients going elsewhere in a sales situation. So it's just another layer of protection, security, certainty, value, because a buyer is looking for, basically a buyer, particularly in our service industry, a buyer is looking for how many customers do you have and what's the turnover and profit of your business. That's kind of what they're looking for. More security you can give them around that, higher the value they're wanting to pay.
Yep.
Perfect. I think we've kind of covered everything about territories. That one was short and sweet, hopefully packed full of information, though. Hopefully that's given you something to sink your teeth into and think about if you're listening along. I hope that was helpful. And if you have a topic that you'd like us to discuss, throw it in the comments below, because this topic is being discussed because someone asked for it. I love that we can be responsive like that. Otherwise, I hope that this has been helpful, and I hope that you join us for the next episode of The Real Franchise very soon.